everybody, welcome to today's update on Daily IoT. It's been crazy, so I apologize for skipping a couple of days there, but we're back and I just have a few, be like a miscellaneous update day of things that I've been working on the project. So first up, a quick update on the puck on my desk. I have now achieved just over 15 seasons worth of updates on a single charge of the battery. So I feel really comfortable at this point saying that the battery life on this is going to be just fine. As long as the Photon can stay asleep for extended periods and wake up reliably on a timer, I'm feeling very comfortable about this thing lasting at least an entire season. It's over 1,200 updates on a single charge. Again, doing it every hour, and so really excited about how that has been doing. And the screen looks fabulous. I haven't seen a single issue with that. Tracking it in low Sant, I've seen over that amount of time, that many updates, it's missed an update twice. So in my graph of check-ins, there have been 2 hours in 1,200 updates where it for some reason it didn't update, whether my internet was down and it just went back to sleep. I haven't really done testing on what happens in that scenario yet, but otherwise with a good Wi-Fi connection, this thing has been solid as a rock, and so I'm really excited about that. What I've been working on the last several days is my debug setup, and it's working. So I got this little, it's kind of a jumbled mess. I got this little $13 through Amazon Prime shipping. It's an ST-Link V2 mini debugger. I guess it's a knockoff of the actual ST-Link devices, which run about, I think, 40 bucks. I think they're 39 bucks on Amazon. But some people have said these little knockoff things work, and so I went that route, paid 13 bucks, and it does. It works just fine. I will put a link to this specific one that I bought. There's lots of them. I don't know if all of them are good or if I just happen to get lucky and find one that works. So I'll put a link to this one that I bought if you're interested in it. But it's working. So I have screens dangling down here. So what I did was I had to set up a special... I had to do a little bit of creative work with Docker because I'm on a Mac. And the problem with Docker on Mac is that you cannot mount devices into containers like you can on Linux, and I believe also Windows lets you do this. I don't know that for sure, but on Mac, mounting a USB device into your container does not work ever since Docker switched over to doing a more native approach to implementation on Mac. Right in their documentation, it says USB device mounting does not work. The way we get around that is we can install VirtualBox, which is what I did, and you can run boot to Docker as a VM in there, which basically puts it back to the old way that it used to work on Mac. And now that can run all of your Docker commands, and you can say, hey, let this USB device be known to that virtual machine, which then allows you to mount it into a container, and lots of hours of figuring things out later. And I can actually run a command that once I plug this in, put this into DFU mode, I can start a GDB debug session on my firmware, which is awesome. So I can get in there, I can type monitor reset halt. It will reboot my Photon and put it and break right at the first instruction and say, what do you want to do? You can set breakpoints and like the setup and loop function and step through the code. You can load the code up in there as well into the GDB session and debug. I can step through my firmware now, line at a time, through a Docker container. And so I don't have any of the dependencies other than Docker and VirtualBox installed on my Mac. Everything else is running inside a container, all the dependencies that you need. So you don't have to worry about cross-platform and how do I install OpenOCD on my Windows machine versus how do I do it on my Mac. It's installed in a Linux container. So that's OpenOCD, that's GDB, and all the drivers and everything so that the device shows up properly. All of that is working beautifully. I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome to be able to step through. It's command line, so a lot of people are down on GDB because it's not an IDE, and we've been spoiled the last few years where you can just Visual Studio hit debug and set breakpoints via a nice graphical IDE. I do not have that. You can set that up through Eclipse But I'm not an Eclipse fan. I'm mostly not a Java fan. This is completely irrational, and I don't know why. Don't tell me it's awesome. It probably is. It's just, that's me. But I'm fine. I don't want to spend any more time on this. I've achieved what I wanted to achieve, which is I can now debug through my code one line at a time through GDB. And if I need to figure out how to do something crazy, I can just look at the GDB docs. They are very comprehensive, and so I shouldn't have any problems there. And so that is the update. I have wrapped up. Tonight I'm gonna work on a little bit of getting some of these aliases done, so I can just do things like build_puck and debug_puck and things like that to start the GDB session and fire up OpenOCD and all that cool stuff. And so I'll just wrap that up, and then we're moving on. Now, I said I didn't want to do any more polished content because I'm super focused on getting this thing finished and delivered. However, I've been tweeting about this and putting information out there, and I've had several people reach out that are very interested to see what I've done with setting this all up on my Mac and getting particle builds working through Docker, as well as debugging. And so I am going to take, I think just an evening is all I'll need to put together a nice long write-up with step-by-step instructions for anybody that's interested in recreating this in their project. So yeah, good stuff happening. I'm happy with how the project is progressing. Excited to get back into working on more feature development in the actual firmware. And so I'll keep you posted on those as we make progress. Question of the day. It's Tuesday, but this will drop tomorrow, Wednesday. Wednesday is my burrito run day. Every Wednesday morning, I go get a burrito, breakfast burrito, for breakfast. And so my question for you today is just a silly one. Do you prefer burritos or tacos? If you had to choose between those two things, are you a burrito person or a taco person? Stick it in the comments below. I really love hearing from everybody. Thank you so much for watching Daily IoT, the show where together we're learning how to make the Internet of Things one day at a time.